Hey everyone, it's Chris, and just real quick before we get started with this episode, I just wanted to jump on and give a quick thank you and some show notes. The thank you is because without knowing it, we recorded the 50th episode of Tailboard Talk today. And when I think back to when I first started, it seems like forever ago. It seems like we should have 200 or 300 episodes by now. And that's mostly because just a couple months ago we started doing them weekly instead of every other week. But in any case, 50 episodes, and I just posted probably a couple weeks ago now that we have 5,000 downloads. You can do the quick math on that, but I think that's pretty cool, and that's truly a testament to you guys listening and sharing and posting, and I'm just so thankful and so appreciative of you guys doing that. So I just want to say a quick thank you for sticking with me, and as I kind of figure this thing out, and I really do want to make this something. So if you like what we're talking about, if you like the way these are going, you like the episodes with Katie and I, you like the episodes where I interview people, don't be afraid to reach out. Tell me what you like and don't like, because I want to create this. I want to really turn this into something for Force Shift in general. So thank you for that. Show note-wise, you're going to hear Sawyer is involved in this one. Katie had to take Nathan to a doctor's appointment today, and it's just easier to not take a 9-month-old on a 2.5-year-old's doctor's appointment. So I told her I could take Sawyer to LGN to record with Curt, and man, that kind of blew up. It took legitimately 30 minutes of just trying to make it okay for Sawyer to be in the same room as Curt. I don't know what happened, but she took one look at him, and just today was not the day. So there was scream crying. There was we tried to give her treats. We tried to give her bottles. We tried whatever we tried. It didn't work. And as soon as he came back in the room, it was freak out time. So there's going to be some cuts in this episode that are more obvious, either because she was freaking out or we had to go pick her up or put her back down again. But it was a little distracting. So hopefully we can salvage an episode with some train of thought. Anyways, thank you again for being a part of this. Thank you for listening. And here's episode 50 of Tailboard Talk. We're talking about on-shift workouts today. Welcome to Tailboard Talk, a fourth shift fitcast. The mission of Tailboard Talk and the Fourth Shift Fitness is to educate and train fire service personnel to increase durability and decrease the potential for injuries and their associated costs. My name is Chris Morella, owner and founder of Fourth Shift Fitness. I'll use my experience as a personal trainer, strength coach, and 15-year veteran of the fire service to deliver tips, tricks, lessons, and information specifically geared towards the health and wellness of firefighters and paramedics. Each episode, you'll leave with immediate deliverables that will improve performance and resilience and keep you in the fight through your career and into retirement. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, welcome to Tailboard Talk. This is Chris, and I'm here with Curt, and we're back at LGN. In case you can't hear, we also have Sawyer today. Nathan had to go on a doctor's appointment, so I brought Sawyer here to LGN and recording, and then she took one look at Curt, and for the past 45 minutes we've been trying to calm her back down, but now it's all good. Except for that. It's all good. We got some toys, we have some puffs, and we'll figure it out. And today we're going to talk about a question that came in kind of through Instagram again, and that's working out on duty, and something that I think Curt and I have different perspectives on, kind of, just because of the jobs we do. Him being primarily on an engine and a driver of an engine, and then me being assigned to an ambulance. Kind of different perspectives. So I guess kick it off real easy. How often do you work out on shift?
I try and progress myself every shift, whether you want to call it a workout or some sort of investment in myself. Every shift.
Physical investment.
Physical investment. For the most part, every shift, unless it just goes totally haywire time-wise. But if I have the ability to, I'm doing some sort of physical training on shift, and that might just be riding the spin bike casually for a half hour, or it might be, a full workout. It just kind of depends on how I'm feeling that day.
Will you count like multi-company training and crew training and stuff like that as a workout?
I do. If we're like hose testing or something like that, I'll count that as a workout.
Nice.
But I don't like to. I'll call it a workout if I'm running on like a time crunch for the day, but I'm not going to sacrifice a workout and say, well, we tested host today, so that's my workout. I'll usually try and do something else, but if our day goes bonkers, I'll consider it the workout for the day.
So what would be like ideal if you got in and you got nothing on the schedule and light call volume day? What would you do at work?
Ideally for me, kind of my typical routine on that is I'll go in and either ride on the bike or walk on the treadmill for 10 or 15 minutes, and that's kind of where I determine how good I feel for what I'm going to do after that.
Yeah.
And then I usually put like a couple couplets or triplets together of movements, just primals of hinging and squatting and pushing and pulling. No, I don't like to go full speed at work.
Yeah.
So I usually gravitate a little bit more towards like some strength stuff leading into a bit of hypertrophy, but I'm certainly not trying to do anything high intensity.
Yeah.
That's going to be of a long duration. I might do, a sprint on the bike at the end, for 60 seconds or something like that, just to get a good feel at the end of it.
Right.
But my goal isn't to go in and do Tabatas or anything like that where I'm working at a pretty high capacity for a duration of time.
Is that just because you're on shift and you might need that energy reserve later, or what's the reason you'll go?
That's my purpose of it. I don't, we were just talking right before this about like that extrication that we had the other day, and it was, trudging, 50 yards off the road through snow, carrying all of our stuff, and I certainly don't want fatigue to either put me in an injury state at that point or performance lacking, at that point. And so for me, I would rather always keep something in the reserve. And are the chances likely that extrication is coming in just as I'm finishing a 30-minute high-intensity workout? Probably not, but I certainly don't want to be the weak link on a call for that,
Well, and I mean, even if it does, though, there's nothing more uncomfortable than being like a sweaty mess.
Oh, yeah.
Going out the door, regardless of season.
Yeah.
And then if you have to do any kind of patient care, you're like, you're
certainly
like wiping
not,
yourself off over the patient.
And you, there's no way you're mentally in that call all the way because you're feeling sorry for yourself because of the predicament you've put yourself in.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's just gross. And then, we have the option to go out the door in our workout stuff.
Right.
But that's not necessarily comfortable either, because it's just, I don't know, it's sweatpants and a shirt, so it works. But, there's nothing more uncomfortable than being in that spot. Whenever I work out at work, I always change before I leave the weight room. If nothing else, just because I know, like, okay, I have my phone in my pocket now and my wallet and the couple tools I carry in my pocket, I have those. Yeah. And I'm wearing the right shoe wear or footwear. I have my boots back on. I'm not wearing, like, running shoes on a call,
Yeah.
Some guys put their bunker gear on and go on calls, but that's equally as useless for me on the ambulance.
Right. That's most of the time what I do.
Yeah.
But even that, like, I don't like being, then my bunker gear sweaty, and then there's nothing worse than putting that on sweaty after you've gotten it sweaty,
Well, and if you're in the back of the ambulance with your bunker gear on, you're absolutely 100% rubbing up against someone with your bunker gear. And most of the time it's going to be the patient because you can't fit between the cot and the bench seat without like scraping their arms or whatever, or just being all over somebody. So what's your alternative then? If your day's running late and you still want to get something in, even after dinner or something like that, what are you defaulting to?
I'm either defaulting to just jumping on the bike, for 30 minutes or so, or just a bunch of movement prep stuff.
Yeah.
Just anything that we'd normally do in a dynamic workout, I just lengthen that out, maybe 20 minutes or so.
Yeah.
My go-to is always if I'm short on time and I just want to move like an every minute on the minute, 10 kettlebell swings or something like that, and just go over 15 minutes, and then you've swung a kettlebell 150 times, and it's better than nothing, and you're out of there. Not a huge time investment.
Yeah, man. I've definitely started to change my workouts to fit kind of one of two molds. Like I'll do either like a distraction session where it's just a break from the day because we're deep in calls, or just whatever, just need a different change of pace, or it turns into like a tinker session where I'll do mobility stuff or stuff I want to add into the complexes for myself or the clients, but it'll be just like You like that one? It'll just be like kind of a mess around session where I can take one tool and just kind of mess with it for half an hour. And if I get interrupted during it, it's no big deal because I'm not heavily invested in a workout. And stuff I can use then for myself, for my clients. And then the checkout one is just like, it's usually just cardio because I don't want to get into a workout of rounds and rounds and rounds and be cut off. Right. Or with all like the single side work we do, it's just annoying to get halfway through a side and then out the door for an hour. Right. And you're not going to come back and finish or something like that.
Yeah.
It's not even a sense of feeling like incomplete or unfinished or something like that. It's just a sense of like, it was a bummer. Like it's a bummer to invest that much into it and not get out of it. And that's more my reality than anything is I got to do stuff that I'm not worried about walking away from.
It is. I like what you said there. I do that as well about like tinkering with stuff to decide how I could use it in a program because there's no risk to doing it there at that point if you're just going to mess around with 15-pound dumbbells and get a feel for something. So I kind of do the same thing. If I've seen some movements that I want to try out comfortably, I'll end up doing it there.
You gonna say something? Jeez,
how do you work out on shift?
What do you do for workouts? Jump. I'll even do that. So you mentioned the 2 15-pound weight things. That's kind of a staple of mine too. Is I usually, if I'm going to use equipment, I'm only using one piece of equipment or one thing I have to set up, and it's got to be like, our dumbbells go up to 50 pounds at work, so it's going to be 50 pounds or less usually. I won't even load up like 95 or 135 for a bear complex or something like that, or some long extended linked together thing. I want something that I can grab. And then if we get a call, I can put it down. I have to come back and clean it up necessarily. Besides putting it on the rack, I'm not going to be changing weights on a barbell during a workout. So I guess the key point here is it's got to be just very simple, which I think for us is doable. I think for other people it might be more difficult. Yeah. And so if you don't have like 2 or 3 different pieces of equipment out or whatever, that can be a challenge for people. But yeah, I like doing just one implement, and just at that point, like you said, I'm kind of piling on the reps a little bit. So as long as I get up to that 140 to 170 heart rate and just kind of sustain that for a while, that's what I'm going for. I'm not looking to burn the world down when I'm on shift or anything like that. It's worked. I mean, the times I get it in, it's worked pretty well, and I don't feel destroyed afterwards. And realistically, I know I've talked about this in the past. That's a heart rate that's most useful and also the most common on the fire ground is that kind of 70% of your max heart rate. So if you can get used to feeling like that, I was doing a workout the other day and I was wearing my watch and it was a heavy lift and then a little bit more of a speed thing. And then I was like, I'm going to recover in between rounds until I feel like I can go again, like I can feel kind of jumpy. And I found out that I feel that way right around like 130. Okay. I'm not even back to 100 yet, but I feel comfortable enough to start pushing again at like 130. I was like, oh, that's good to know. So if I can operate pretty comfortably 130 to 140, and then I start getting a little sketchy around 170, where I have to start paying attention, actually pushing through something. But that's knowledge that unless you spend time doing that stuff, the lower intensity but higher volume or just that kind of working out, you might not know. The other thing I don't do is anything that requires extra stuff like knee wraps or knee sleeves or chalk or even like straps for deadlifts or Olympic lifts or anything like that. Like anything that requires an extra step like that I'll have to clean up or take off before going on a call is just out. Yeah. Because I already have to put pants with a belt on and zip up my boots because I'm tactical. I don't know what to say. It frustrates me when I see people working out with all that extra stuff on. If anything, it's out of jealousy that they feel comfortable enough that they can get geared up and spend a half hour warming up on a lift and then really dig in because they know they might not be running a call that day. Right. So if anything, it's jealousy. But in general, I wear what the department gives me in terms of gym shorts and a shirt. Yep. And I put on my gym shoes and I go do some stuff, I mean, that's a pet peeve of mine. Guys that need to change into special stuff to work out. Yeah, I mean, I never use it anyway, so it's never a concern for me. But I'm with you with that. It's just it would be nice to. I mean, I guess I probably do have the time where I'm at now, but the part of that's like a bit of an attitude thing for me too. Is I'm probably going to hurt some people's feelings on this, but I almost feel like if you're willing to go to that lengths to work out on shift, are you
what's your priority for that day, and it kind of seems like a bit of a me first thing, I guess.
But that thought though is the exact reason why we know it exists. Because if it wasn't a little bit of a selfish thing and a show-offish thing,
right,
they also wouldn't have set up their phone for a good angle of it,
right,
to show it off. We would never see it.
Do TRXs off of their ladders and stuff like that. I'm just like, I hate that so much.
Yeah, I know as part of the fitness committee or the wellness committee, we would advise against that.
Yeah, 100%.
For nothing else than liability. But if somebody from the public walks in and sees you working out,
well, that's the thing. It's like I have no problem. When we would work out and do sprints behind the station and stuff, and the sports complex had traffic coming out. Like I have no problem working out in the eye of the public because I think it's good for them to see that we're trying to maintain. Sure. But also the public, they pay us pretty well. And I don't want to abuse that benefit that we have of being able to work out at work. And have that be a positive sight in the public, But
and it comes down to what screws up everything is a few people that feel the need to do some stuff that is probably not the best idea, and that even goes into like guys who need to change into special clothes to run, And we have a few guys that are big time into marathons or races or whatever, and they have to change into a completely specific uniform or outfit to go running, and that's great. But if that outfit causes you to be delayed in your response to get to the engine out the door, it's not great because that's your priority. It's not getting a better 5K time in the middle of your shift. So it goes into a little bit different conversation, but it's all the same. It's part of it. So I always tell people, the department gives you workout stuff. If you have a workout that you want to do that you can't do in that workout stuff, save it for when you don't have to wear that workout stuff. And we have the option. Our rule is that as long as you're not in the public eye, you can wear your own stuff. But if you're going to respond on calls or if there's a tour coming through, you should put the department stuff on.
Yeah.
I just put the blanket statement out there in general, like just wear the department stuff they give you.
Yeah.
That way there's no question if a surprise tour comes by or something happens where you're all of a sudden in the public eye, hey, talk in the microphone. You're never going to get in trouble by doing that, And
I'm going to go back on my statement just a little bit. I also understand, too, that there's probably some people who that's their only opportunity to train hard is with the equipment, whether they got childcare or something at home or they don't have a gym at home that they can work out in or whatever it ends up being. For those people, I understand, that if that's their opportunity to really work hard, then go for it. But that's not everybody, for sure.
All right, I've moved Sawyer to her playpen. Let's see how long this lasts. You okay? You going to make it?
In 5.
All right. Smiling. No, I get that. I understand that. That's a tough one, though, because you still have to balance that risk versus reward, though. Like, that might be your only opportunity to dig in and do that. Mm-hmm. But it's also not. It's not your opportunity to dig in and do that because it's your opportunity to do your job. And there's the same balance there. Like, if I look at my schedule and say the only time this week that I'll have the squat rack I like to squat 405 is going to be on shift, that's actually not my opportunity to squat 405. And I'm just imagining now I'm pushing into like the 90, 95% exertion range, right? Mm-hmm. If it's my only opportunity to squat, then yeah, I could see you doing that in like a sub-maximal way and getting it done. But that's a bummer if that's your only opportunity to do it and you feel the need to do it, because I still think that you being at work is an opportunity to do your job really well, not get your best workout in.
Right.
So I would say carve out 15 minutes before or after shift, shift probably. Then you can dig in before you go home and you are void of those resources. But
yeah, that's the there's another, again, I'm going to offend some people, from our job, I think at this point too, is like, I don't know if you've heard the rowing challenge that's floating around the department right now, or I don't know if it's a 2K or a 5K on the rower.
Well, a couple of years ago it was 5,000 meters, I think.
It's going on currently because I was just with the new hires the other day and they were comparing their scores.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's 2 or 5, but
yeah.
Either way, like that's trying to compete on the rower,
Yeah.
Even if it's 2K, like you're just not in a great position after that.
No.
To go out and perform should you need to.
No, it's terrible. So that must have been, about 5 years ago where that was going around. And, no, you're completely shot. Anytime you're going to push yourself to actually go all out and beat someone, and we had the scores posted on the board, and I tried it out easy and just saw like where I landed if I could just push and not really dig in.
Yeah.
And I was in like the middle third of scores,
Mm-hmm.
And then there was probably 7 or 8 people above me in the top third.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel great when I got done with it. Like my legs didn't feel great. I felt a little pukey. Just wasn't, because it was a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's 6 minutes or so.
Yeah.
6 or 7 minutes that you're on it for that particular one. And after I did it, I warned the guys, like, make sure you're either leaving work when you're doing this, or it's like before shift when you have an hour to chill after this, because you can't get off this rower and go run a call. And I know for a fact there was at least 1 or 2 times where they did not take my advice and they did it hard, and luckily nothing happened immediately after. But even up to like an hour and a half afterwards, when they were just sitting around, they would get up and be like, "Oh, my legs hurt."
One of the new hires the other day, they were talking about it, and they were like, "Yeah, I did it right after eating pizza." And I was like, "What position are you in to do anything?" If they're throwing pizza down and then 6 minutes on the rower,
Yeah, I don't know, man. They're young, and maybe they're able to pull it off, But I'm not. I can't do that. I started drinking coffee during some of the heavier lifts now, but then I regret it.
You used to make fun of that before that all the time.
I couldn't. No, well, I made fun of it because I couldn't do it. But if I'm doing like a deadlift couplet with some other kind of recovery movement or something or mobility move, I can drink coffee during that. Mm-hmm. But I regret it as soon as I go on to like the second and third complex. I'm like, oh, that was a terrible decision. As soon as I'm like swinging a kettlebell or in like a push-up position and moving through, I'm like, oh my God, this did not feel as good 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, push-up position's the worst for that.
Oh,
Get it
God,
creeping back up at you a little bit.
So what would you give then for guidelines for working out on shift workouts? Suggestions more than anything, because everybody's going to be different, right? There's busier departments than us, and there's much, much less busy departments than us, and I would give different guidelines for both those people. But
yeah, I think just kind of going back to what I said in the beginning, like I'm not reaching failure with anything resistance training wise. I mean, if you want to do, pillars and planks and some, trunk work for to failure on that, that's fine. But like anything resistance training wise or cardio wise, I'm not reaching 95% exertion. So I'm probably sticking at like 6 or 7 out of 10 difficulty is the max that I'm going to on anything. And that's only going to be part of a complex. So it's like, I might say I'm going to goblet squat, use the TRX and do something on the floor. And maybe my goblet squats, I'll go to 7 or 8 out of 10, but those other 2 things are to come down from the goblet squats and just work on some primal movement patterns, some functional movement patterns. Yeah. But that's kind of my goal in there, is just to kind of like touch every movement pattern, just so it's, well-rounded. So it's like I try and push and pull something. I try and squat something. I try and do something on a single leg, and I do a little bit of core work, and that pretty much hits most of my training sessions at the department.
Is it, how long are they? Or how long would you say?
45 minutes.
Yeah. Another 2 hours of cooling down afterwards. Hanging out
but that's not the word. That's in front of the TV. Yeah. Ben and Jerry's. Chubby hubby.
Hi. Don't freak out. Well, for my guidelines or my suggestions, I'm actually going back to... Yeah, you like that? I'm going to go back to kind of what you... Oh, stop. Were you focused and we ruined it?
Your guidelines suck.
Yeah, they do. She does not like my guidelines. Okay. So what I would say is do the thing that helps you progress, which makes it more ambiguous, obviously. It makes it more kind of non-committal of an answer. But if some days you're running calls and you need just 30 minutes to go chill out, then get on the bike and and go chill out or get on the Stairmaster and put yourself at around 70% of your heart rate, something you don't have to worry about consciously pushing through, because then you're just adding more stress to yourself, but something you can do while you watch something stupid on your iPad, you know. If you're having a slow day or you feel like you've been slacking, you want to put a complex together, then do that, you know, but you got to pay attention to what you're doing, what call volume you have or you can expect, what your department runs like. Everybody's running short now, so you know that you're going to be doing the job of at least 1.5 people when you go out the door, if not more. And so if you decide to do something at a too high intensity or something that's not smart, then you're not just impacting yourself. You're going to impact the entire team that you're working with or the crew you're working with. And like I said, the public's not paying you to get your good workout in. The public's paying you to be there when they need you. So do something that's going to help you do your job better for that day. Mobility work, if it's one day, maybe a little strength work another day, but you got to be able to listen to your body and kind of play accordingly. For me, I'll just run down kind of what I said before too in terms of an actual guideline on what to do. If I'm going to use equipment, it's usually one piece of equipment, and the other stuff's going to be body weight or kind of mobility stuff. Add on the reps, pile on the reps on this stuff, get your heart rate up a little bit, get moving a little bit, but nothing, kind of like Curt said, nothing at 90% or a 9 out of 10 intensity, because you got a job to do potentially. And the other time is just getting on the piece of cardio equipment and kind of going to town for 30, 40 minutes while I watch Below Deck or something like that and not worry about it. So I'm sure people have other thoughts of what to do on duty. I mean, if you just go look on social media, there's no shortage of people working out in their uniforms or in their gear and smoking themselves and kind of showing that off. Maybe that's right for them, but I'm telling you it's not right for me. And if you were on my crew and you smoked yourself, we would be having a talk afterwards about making smart decisions based on the job I expect you to do in the next 10 minutes. So
the other thing too is like I don't think you need to necessarily be in the mindset that you have to do a workout every day. So like there's days where I'll go put a dumbbell outside of the workout room, and maybe 10 times a day I do a farmer's carry with it around the apparatus floor in each hand, so it's whatever that is, 40 or 50 yards, and do that 10 times a day, or watch your phone or watch your Fitbit and get 6,000, 8,000 steps in every day, and if you notice you're at 3 or something like that, just go. You don't even have to get out of your gear or out of your duty gear to do that. You don't even have to break a sweat. It's like farmer's carry around the apparatus floor is going to take 90 seconds. Your grip hurts a little bit, but we know the benefits of that, and you do that 10 times a day. You don't even have to get out of your boots, and you can progress yourself. So it doesn't have to be that every day you need to change out of your stuff and go carve out 45 minutes to improve. There's other strategies you can do.
You have something? I think that's a good way to end it. There's always something to do. It just depends on what you're trying to do. So if you need help figuring out those things to do, reach out to Curt or myself. Are you want to do some online coaching?
Yeah, I'll do some online
coaching. Man.
I'll do some more online coaching.
Well, yeah. Different online coaching. Yes. Reach out. Whoa. Fourth Shift Fitness on all social media or fourthshiftfit@gmail.com. What's your social media stuff?
At Curt_Hansen. Or just Fourth Shift, and Chris will forward it to me.
_. Yeah, I promise I will.
Or take it. I don't know, whatever.
10%.
You'll get help one way or the other.
You'll get help, and Curt will get a coffee. All right, guys. As always, be a Fourth Shifter. Talk to you soon.